Welcome, everybody, to the third edition of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, presented by UPS Store, 5510 Northeast Antioch in North Kansas City. My pleasure to be here with Coach, and we're getting ready to fire up and get that fire in the belly for the first conference game. I'm looking forward to it, but I think we'll probably go and start off a little bit about talking last week and playing the number 7 team in the nation, Missouri Western Griffins, and the Griffins. You know, that word kind of bothers me, but we'll talk about it.
Being a Northwest guy, that word bothers me a lot this week.
Yeah,
too,
I'm sure it does.
I'd just be fine with if we wanted to move on in this segment and start talking about next week. But
that's why you get paid the big bucks, though.
Yeah, they answer the questions, and you know, you get in a game like that, and we knew going into it, you know. We talked about it in last week's game. You know, somebody asked me, I think Rick asked me in pregame,
right.
You know, Coach, if you were to look at a weakness for this team, you know, he asked me what their strengths were, and I said it might be easier to tell you what their weaknesses are, but I can't figure any of those out either. That's a really good football team in all phases, and they showed it the other day. And you know, did we play our best football? Absolutely not.
Right.
We weren't. We didn't execute very well. In a lot of different rounds, we had the ball in the red zone several times and turned it over. Defensively, we missed some gaps, which turned into about 5-6 big plays. That when you allow big plays and you allow open gaps against an offense like that with athletes like they have, they're going to potentially turn into long scoring plays, which they did. And it's frustrating, and nobody feels worse than myself and our team. But you know, it gives us something to continue to work on. And, you know, again, like I told our team, that team we played Saturday will go out and beat a bunch of Division I AA schools.
Without a
They
doubt.
are that kind of good.
Yeah.
And their front four on defense were the best I've seen at the Division II level in my experience at that level, which is almost 10 years. And they are extremely special. And, you know, they'll do some good things this year. Absolutely, no doubt.
Well, you know, a lot of those kids from Missouri Western, from the Kansas City area, particularly over in eastern Jackson County, which I'm familiar with, Blue Springs area and Lee Summit area and that type of thing. And I've seen probably Missouri Western play in the last 10 years at least 6 to 8 times because of my Northwest support and going to always see a playoff game and that type of thing. And I think this is the best ball club. And I talked to Coach Partridge. I don't know, I didn't tell you that, but I talked to him after the game. We go way back working camps here. And he feels like it's one of his stronger teams, particularly up front. He's got, like you said, his defensive line, he's got 6 guys up front that are real players. That Ali, the kid who played linebacker for him, they do a good job of keeping people off of him, and he runs the ball well. Don't you think that they really realize what the top bar is and understand what it is after playing those 2 teams the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think they definitely understand it. And like I said, nobody wants to go out and lose the way we lost on Saturday from a scoreboard standpoint. And you said, you know, you've got to dare to be great. I'm sure there's plenty of pundits out there that right now are saying, yeah, right, you're daring to be stupid. But, you know.
They're not coaching this football team, you are.
Whether you believe that or not, and that's your prerogative. And honestly, I don't hold it against you if that's what you think right now, because if you look at the score from Saturday, you know, if I was a fan, that's probably what I would think too. But, you know, regardless of if that's what you think or not, we did get some good out of it, and we didn't come out of it too beat up, and we learned some things. We learned that if we're going to be successful at the highest level at this division of play, that's what we're up against. And, you know, I think these 2 first games that we played this year will very much set us up for stepping into conference play this week, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, exactly right. Let me tell you something. I really feel strongly about this. The fans aren't head football coaches, and also head football coaches have visions of where they want to go. And you can't, you know, you have to be willing to challenge yourself, your program, and your kids. Sometimes you stub your toe, which we did last Saturday. There's no question about it. But again, that isn't the whole point of what you're trying to do here at Williamsville, is to try to build a football program, and it takes time and effort, and I think you'll get there. So we'll get an opportunity. Like I said, we're really all of us are really excited about the next 8 weeks.
Yeah, 8 weeks. We got 9.
9 weeks. 9 weeks.
Boy, I'm worried about this one. We
better take one at a time.
We got a long road yet, so we've got to get a bunch of things fixed and get ready for Saturday.
Yeah, you know, injuries real quick at the end of this little part. We're doing anybody major that came up?
You know, we're banged up just a little bit, as you know. As much as you would be coming out of any Saturday's game. You know, we'll have a few guys that are questionable for the weekend, but that's every week. I think for the most part, you know, we got a chance to maybe be as healthy as we've been going into Saturday's game with getting a few guys back. But, we'll get to later in the week and we'll kind of see how all that shakes out. Jeff does a tremendous job of getting those guys ready, and he does his job each and every week, and I'm sure by the time we get to Friday morning staff meeting, he's going to say, it looks like we're doing pretty good.
Well, that's the end of this segment, and that's the end of us talking about Missouri Western. We're moving on to the rest of the year. We'll be right back with you.
I would say almost to a man, you'd see a big smile, and they would say, hey, Tim, we love to travel.
I'm going to change the world. I've got computers, I've got financing, I've got clients. I've got a business plan, I have VC money, I've got a game-changing idea. I've given myself room to grow. We're dangerous, very dangerous. This is only the beginning. I'm going to own the future. There's just one problem. I don't know how to print this.
Professional printing,
Help?
and everything else a small business needs, now at the UPS Store.
I love logistics.
Foreclosure, repossession, garnishment. Costello and Farah can fight for you.
Are creditors threatening to take your property or your money? My office has helped thousands of people in the Kansas City area protect their assets through debt reorganization or bankruptcy protection. Call my office at 816-505-HELP and see if we can help you protect your assets and get you back on your feet.
The attorneys of Costello and Farah, lawyers who will fight for you. Call 816-505-HELP today.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody back to Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we're going to talk a little bit about our first conference game coming up and talking about all the conference teams that are in the league. And, that's an exciting time. I know one of our main goals all the time was always number one to win a conference championship, number two win the district championship, number three win the state championship. So you've got the opportunity now where you're moving into a conference and try to accomplish one of your goals.
Yeah, and that's what I talk to our kids about, and we've talked about it the whole year. Yeah, did we in the worst way want to win our first two games? Absolutely. And like we've talked about before, if you don't, you're doing the wrong thing. If you don't have that desire. But I talked to him about at the end of the game, after the game the other night in our meetings on Sunday. It's a new season right now. Our goal going into this year was to win our conference, and we still have the ability to do that in a very big way. And we're undefeated in our conference right now, just like every other team. And we've went out and played some good teams. The team that's picked to win our conference, the University of Indianapolis, is 0-2 right now as well.
Yeah, I saw that in the paper.
They're feeling some of the same things that we're feeling and some of the frustrations. But you know what? They went out and played a 1AA equivalent team last week too, so everybody's undefeated and can't wait to get to this coming week and start conference play and kind of see where all that shakes out, because the reality is, and you understand this, if you can go out and do very well in your conference and win your conference, then you give yourself an opportunity at the end of the season to be in the conversation for postseason play. Will you make it? It all comes down to regional rankings and those things at the NCAA Division II level. But if you win your conference, you're going to be in that conversation.
Absolutely.
And Urbana was last year. And they weren't even in a conference, but they were in the conversation last year because I think they finished the season 8-3, I believe. Right. And they, as I found out talking to some of the regional rankers after the season was over, they were real close to being in for the playoffs. So that's what's important right now moving forward for us, is we take each game in conference play one step at a time and try and go out and win each Saturday moving forward.
Well, the other thing is maybe a little different twist. Last year on our coaches show, we talked a little bit about our travel because it was so much different. We're going to do a lot of traveling again this year. But I think just being with you all the time, I think our kids are adjusting to understand that's a way of life, and they're really kind of getting used to the situation.
I would say about the travel thing, I think if you brought any one of our players and sat them down here and talk to them about, hey, how's all the travel been the last year or so? How's the travel going this year? I would say almost to a man, you'd see a big smile and they would say, hey, Tim, we love to travel. We love, being all together.
They sure seem to. The kids seem like they enjoy it.
And credit to our coaching staff. They're very organized, and our players, our approach on the road has been very businesslike, and we were able to last year at the end of the season go out and win some big games, Division II games on the road in our last couple weeks. And that's a credit to our players and the approach they've taken to that. Now, did we play very well at Colorado Mines? No, we didn't, and that was a road game. The trip was very good. The game outcome wasn't. And again, we can talk about why that happened with young guys and execution and all of those things, but just if we're talking about the travel and how our players handle that, they handle it extremely well, and they're extremely focused on the road. And people ask me that all the time, hey, all these long road trips, do you? And I say, hey, listen, I love them because I can walk out of my office on Friday or Thursday afternoons when we leave on some of the longer trips, and I can shut my phone off, and nobody's knocking at my door.
And you're just with your family, which is a football team at that time.
You get to be with the guys you want to be with.
Absolutely, and they get it, and they know what you guys are trying to do.
If there was one thing that's frustrating about travel is that you can't take your whole roster.
Right.
Because if we could, we'd take them all because that's your guys. And you know how it is, staying in hotel rooms and doing walkthroughs on the road.
Oh, those are the things, the best memories come
from. Those are memories. I remember from playing days, all the road, I can tell you almost verbatim every road trip who my roommate was.
Sure.
Because you spend a night in a room with a guy.
Especially if he's a snore.
You're going to get to know him.
If he's a snore, it's a long night, brother, let me tell you.
And we do a good job, our coaches do a good job of mixing those roommates up so they never have the same roommate to help.
Oh, is that right? That's how you do it.
Build culture.
Cool.
And guys have to get to know each other that way, and bus assignments, and everything is planned. All the little things, and you know this, and the success lies in the details. And if you're not detailed in everything you're doing, then you're going to struggle for a long period of time. And you're never going to get to where you're going. Are we to where we want to be yet? No, we're not. We're far from it, but we're in the process of getting there, and the little things we're doing, I think, and all of our operations, I think, help that.
Well, I talk about building the program. Anytime I talk about William Jewell, I have your back on that, because I do think, and you already used the term, and I think everybody that's a Cardinal fan, you were talking about it, a lot of people think you were crazy because you schedule Western. I don't at all, because it is a process. And like I said, you're going to stub your toe, to build a building, it takes a lot of cement. And I talked to you in February at a basketball game, and you told me, Coach, our goal is to win the conference championship. Well, why not do it? And we've got that opportunity, so we're looking forward to it, and we're going to kick it off on Saturday and see what happens.
Some people may say that's an unattainable goal in your first year at the Division II level, fully fledged Division II, and your first year in a new conference.
People say a lot of things, Coach.
Yeah, and trust me, I get all that. But you've got to have goals. Are they attainable? I think they are, and our players think they are, and right now, that's what matters.
Well, and if you don't believe that, you should walk out of here right now and never come back.
That's exactly right.
That's the way I feel. Well, that wraps up. I got a little fired up, Coach. I was getting a little halftime speech here. We finished the segment here of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we'll get back, and we will talk about our first conference opponent in Kentucky Wesleyan.
You've been involved in some questionable calls at Missouri Western before in your day too, and one would say that he's across the goal line,
absolutely,
and then the ball comes out.
What's my motto? Play to win. What's the key? Logistics. It takes planning. Everybody on the same page. Check this out. This is my playbook. Serious business. Right player, right place, right time. Did it at the UPS store. Bam! High five. Color, pictures, charts, graphics. Nice, huh? I love logistics.
It says in the book we should play as a team.
Professional color printing. Now at the UPS store.
Before the game or after the game, it's Poor Boy Oil Company for your pre- and post-game food and beverage. ConocoPhillips and BP Amoco Fuels get you to the game, and our large vendors give you great food and beverage choices before or after the game. Our small-town roots and family value philosophies help us to maintain the highest standards in customer service and value. Poor Boy Oil Company. Find us around the Northland, wherever the Cardinals fly.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody back to the third segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and I'm getting fired up just sitting there thinking about playing the first conference game, so we're going to talk about it a little bit, and we're going to talk about Kentucky Wesleyan, and that was our last victory in our last ball game, and we won on the road last year in a really good barn burner football game.
It came down to the very end, and we made a big play to kind of seal it at the end of it, and I'm telling you what, talk about a team that plays with a lot of heart and determination. Last year you guys saw it. That was our final game of the year down there in Kentucky, and we needed a big play at the end to seal the victory, and we got that. Owen Hodges goes up and intercepts.
Blue Springs boy, I might add.
Exactly, and So that was a big win for us to close out the season. You know, they've graduated some dudes just like we have, and they've got some youth in some spots just like we do. You know, they play extremely hard. If you guys remember the quarterback from last year that just kept getting up and kept going, and kept fighting.
Did a nice job.
He was a senior. He's gone. The guy that replaced him is the same prototype. The kid is tough and, you know, just a determined winner. And, you know, guys like that, when you come up against them, you know, they can give you an opportunity every week to be in a football game. And they, you know, they stumbled a little bit their first week of the season and lost their first game, and then came out and beat, you know, a good Kentucky State team last week on the road. And, you know, so that's a big win for them. They're coming into this game with a lot of confidence at 1-1 and starting conference play, coming off a big win there. So, you know, we'll have our hands full this weekend, and we've got to get in the film room and get out in the field and fix some, you know, mistakes and correct some things.
Right.
And execute a lot better and be ready to go on Saturday.
You know, I remember last year the quarterback was the really driving force of their offense. They were pretty multiple. They threw the ball, they play action, they ran the football. You're looking at, are you going to see a traditional college spread team, or are we going to be looking at offense?
Yeah, you know, we've watched some film on them already, obviously. They're going to be in several spread looks. They'll get under center a little bit and use some tight ends and some of the stuff they do and still some play action. And so it's a spread, multiple type look that can give you some, you know, frustrations if you don't line up to it right. And so, you know, we're working on the game plan, you know, kind of as we speak. The other coaches are in there grinding on that, as we all have been for the last 48 hours. And we'll have a good plan for Saturday, and you know, we've got to go in and execute and play as good as we can play. We've yet to do that.
You know, defensively, and I really can't off the top of my head remember whether they were 3-4, 4-3, split.
They're a 4-3 look. They're a
4-3
look, yeah. And they do a good job with it. They, you know, understand the fits out of it, and they play their secondary aggressive, and they've got a couple athletes on the edge at corner, and so, you know, they do some good things.
In that ball game last year, though, we were able to move the ball on the ground early, if you remember, and that really set up some of, you know, I've got to be careful I talk about Shelton so much because I think he's such a fine player and does so many things for us, but it really opened up things for Sean. Yeah. And, you know, if we could run the football a little bit, the sky's the limit for the kid as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you know, the good thing about Sean is of how well he's progressed the last couple of years in managing the offense and what we do from an offensive game plan perspective, and the more stuff we're able to give him at the line of scrimmage now and getting us in and out of the right play. And you know, Coach Majors calls a good game, but you know, Coach Shelton, Shelton's going to be a coach someday, and that's his desire to do that. You know, he's getting some of the coaching things already because he's a play caller on a lot of what we do at the line of scrimmage, and he's doing a really good job with that. And, you know, always what we want to do is start on the run game. You know, you've got to be able to you know, maintain and own the line of scrimmage and be able to move the ball on the ground to set up some things in the passing game. And so, you know, our approach is always the same there, and it won't change this week. You know, that's not telling any secrets. That's our offensive philosophy and our team philosophy. And you know, so it won't be any different this week. We've just got to go out and execute it and get it done. And then when we get the ball in those situations to score, like we had a couple last week as well, we got to put the dang thing in the end zone. And, you know, we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
There's no question about it. You know, I told the guys going up to Western on Saturday, I said, first time in 2 years I didn't throw coach nothing but softballs. I put him on the grill a little bit about the red zone, and I was still going to pontificate when we fumbled. We had a great drive. We really did. We had a great drive when we get down inside the 1 yard line and then we cough it up. But it is a frame of mind, you know, and it's kind of like what we were talking about building that it takes a lot of cement. Yeah. You got to have that confidence that you feel like when you get in that red zone you can make it happen, and I think you will. You know, I see so many good things. I use the example Mosen and Sheldon. What a combination! Their timing on the out routes and the slants and all, they really have it down together. Yeah. They're a fine combination, and they're going to be fun to watch the rest of the year for the Cardinal fans.
No, they're doing some good things, and you know, you talk about some of those drives on Saturday, and you know, I'm not throwing them under the bus here. Nobody feels worse about that fumble than Glenn, but you know, you've been involved in some questionable calls at Missouri Western before in your day too, and one would say that he's across the goal line,
absolutely,
and then the ball comes out, but regardless, Glenn will tell you, Coach, I need to hold on to that ball till I'm on the ground.
Yeah, Glenn's that type of kid.
He is. He is a tough, physical.
And mentally tough.
And above all, he's a tremendous young man. And you know, we're going to see some big things from him as the year goes along. And those are all learning experiences.
Sure it is.
And, you know, those things are going to go well for us. Again, like we talked about, it is a confidence thing that when you get inside the red zone, you're going to put it in the end zone every single time.
Well, I want to end on that red zone stuff because I don't want to pontificate too long on that. And that's the end of our third segment, and we'll be right back with another segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook.
You know, you and I think we're going to have a setup, and we're going to be on the mic and doing some broadcast stuff from there, and have one of these type of settings, and we're some question and answers to start out, and then, you know, at the end of it, you know, the fans will have a mic that they can come up and ask some questions of either one of us.
This is corporate headquarters. As you can see, I have a unique business. How do I compete with the big boys? Got this fancy business address, a marketing department, distribution center, got a great team, even a cafeteria.
That's mine.
From packing and shipping to printing and mailbox services, come into the UPS store for everything a small business needs.
I love logistics.
Hi, this is Kurt again with MetroFreeStuff.com. Please check us out today for all the local businesses we support here in the Liberty area. We have over 10 businesses and we're growing each day. Visit us today at www.metrofreestuff.com. One of our frees, a big free in 2012, is our free networking events that we're hosting for local community organizations and small businesses. Come join us today. Visit www.metrofreestuff.com to find out more.
We're going to wrap up our final segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we're going to talk a little bit about, and like I said, I'm pumped up. I was pumped all the way to Western, so I'm really going to be pumped up for our first home game. We're going to kick it off 1 o'clock against Kentucky Wesleyan, and, you know, looking at that, I know the kids have got to be excited a little bit, Coach, aren't they, about playing their first home game?
You know, anytime you're home opener, it's a big deal, and, you know, I worry for them that, you know, people will look at our first 2 games on the road and look at the scores and decide that it's not worth coming to watch. But what I'll tell everybody out there is that, trust me, if you come on Saturday, you're going to see a team that plays really hard and really physical and with a lot of emotion, a lot of desire, and you know, and those things turn into success. And we're going to go into Saturday planning to win it, just like we do every week, and looking forward to the process of getting to Saturday and then, you know, getting into the game and getting rolling on our first conference game. There couldn't be a bigger game for us right now than to be playing our first ever conference game at home and all the things that come along with that. Talking to the coaches in the conference, everybody at the conference media day was excited about the places they got to travel this year because it's new for all of us. And we get to go see kind of what everybody else is working with and see what kind of environment they work out of and recruit out of. And it'll be a lot of fun, and we're really excited about getting kicked off in the GLBC.
Yeah, we want to talk a little bit, too, and do a little promotion. I sound like the promotion man here, which is what I am. We're going to talk about, we're going to have a whole new program we're going to have after the ball game. We're going to go up. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because to be honest with you, we're going to have question and answer periods, and we want all the fans to come up with us and maybe have a Coke or two together and we could visit. But, Coach, why don't you talk about what we're going to try to do after the ball game?
You know, I'm really excited. Some things that Rick has gotten together. You know, and Rick Cole and you don't get near enough credit for the progress we've made here in the last couple of years and the things that you guys do. What people don't realize is that we're not paying you guys $30,000, $50,000,
I'm getting $1.8 million.
See, we're paying you way too much then. No, we don't pay you guys near enough for what you guys do and how you've been stewards of the institution and promoting us out there. And, you know, Rick has put together a really good deal downtown on the square for after post game, basically an hour after the game, around 5 o'clock or so, 5 to 5:15. You know, I'm going to run in after the game. We're going to talk to the team. I'm going to shower up. Hopefully, have time to shower up. And
I hope you do too.
I will. I promise. And I'm going to head down to the square here at a place called the Cork and Brew, which is a great little place on the square if you haven't been there. And they're going to have drink specials and food specials. And you know, you and I think we're going to have a setup, and we're going to be on the mic and doing some broadcast stuff from there. And and have one of these type of settings and where some question and answers to start out, and then at the end of it, the fans will have a mic that they can come up and ask some questions of either one of us. I hope they ask more questions of you.
Coach, they're not going to. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm retired. Don't forget that, dog.
So I am extremely excited about that. Our players will be there. We'll have a player segment too with one of the players from the game, and it'll give me a chance to sit and talk about some of our players and talk about the game in front of a lot of people that were there, because instead of them having to wait till maybe a day or two later to hear some other things about it, it's fresh in my mind at that point. And
it's going to be great fun.
To talk about it. It'll be a great environment. And Jeff Woods, the owner down there, is a great guy, and the food's tremendous down there. I've been down there several times, and the things he's doing for us with letting us come down there and host the event, it'll be exciting and fun. Like I said, it'll be right about an hour after the game, around 5 to 5:15. And then I think you and I are going to do about a 45-minute segment on the broadcast about, what we do on Saturday.
Right.
And so I'm really excited about that. That gives Cardinal fans a strategic place to go after the game and still be in the game environment and still be talking about some of those things, which we all do anyway.
Well, that's true, and I think you're right. I think Rick Cole deserves a lot of credit because he's doing a great job, and you are too, promoting William Jewell College along with all the other coaches, because we do soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, and I do think go right back to building. That building I could talk about with all that cement. This is definitely a part of it. All the great programs. They were talking about the University of Missouri last week when Georgia came in. There was 25,000 fans that came in and were there for 3 days. That's the type, hopefully someday, and we probably won't be at 25,000, but if it was 250, that are really true loyal Cardinal fans, the way I see it, that's what we're shooting for.
Absolutely.
Because we want you there to be a Cardinal fan, and we want you to ask questions. And I know, it'd be really good too, I think, for people to really ask you questions down deep that they would like to know the answers to. And they'll find out coaching isn't a Monday morning deal. It's a full-time job.
It's, I've got 2 young children at home, which I know I've talked about several different times, that are as close to me as anything. But, I walk into the environment here and I have 103 18 to 22-year-old children that I don't, there's never a moment that goes by that I'm not thinking about them and how the decisions that I'm making are affecting them and how they're doing, not just in football, but even more importantly in life. And those are the things that you've done this, you've been great at this, and that's why at the end of the day you do what you do.
Well, all this stuff is just simply about one thing: a positive, teachable moment for the student.
Absolutely.
We get caught up in wins and we get caught up in losses, but it's all about being positive and teaching life lessons.
No doubt.
Well, that's the final segment this week. I'm pumped up, in case you can't tell, of the Inside the Cardinal Playbook. Hope to see you soon. I really want to thank UPS. Of course, we couldn't have this. You see our new backdrop, which is pretty cool. We're going big time. The next step's ESPN, but we'll try to make it over to 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City, because we really sincerely do appreciate UPS's support. So we'll see you Saturday.